Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're continuing our series on Sebastian Crow's Guide to Drakenheim, and we're talking about the subclass that they built, the Paladin subclass, Oath of Hexes. The world that the Dungeon Dudes have created, the world of Drakenheim, is a world filled with eldritch magic and crazy, uh, powerful monsters that slip through the cracks in reality. This paladin definitely feels very eldritch with its, themes. And let's be real for a moment. Paladin subclasses are often somewhat incidental. Like, with a couple exceptions, Oathbreakers, Oath of Vengeance, a couple special features you might get from the Oath of the Ancients, or, there's a couple key ones in there that certainly have fun powers or extra spells. But the subclasses aren't the defining features typically of a paladin. How have the Dungeon Dudes done with their paladin? Does it stand out? We'll get to the details in just a moment. Before we do, though, I'd like to let you know Relax Fantasy Review has memberships. For just $1 a month, you can support me here on YouTube and get a couple benefits. First, you get a little badge next to your name in the comments, letting folks know that you're a supporter. But also, you get early access to the videos. I upload videos 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I upload them a day early for members only. So if that interests you, you can click the join button just below the video down there. And if it doesn't, I'm still thankful that you're here. Thank you so much for watching my videos and supporting me here on YouTube. So Paladin subclass, Oath of Hexes. Let's talk about it. First of all, you get, at level 3, 2 things. Your spells and your channel divinity. This is very typical for Paladins. The spell list is... Well, most Paladin spell lists are pretty mid. Some standout features include, let's talk about the Oath of Vengeance, Misty Step, Hex, Haste, some pretty strong features there. This spell list for Oath of Hexes is insanely strong. First of all, you get a free cantrip, Eldritch Blast. Most paladins don't even get cantrips unless they take the Blessed Warrior fighting style and grab some cleric cantrips. But no, you just get Eldritch Blast as a paladin cantrip. And then you get some top shelf spells as you move through your career. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is here. Invisibility is here. Polymorph is here. Dominate Person is here. There is some wildly strong magic in this thing. I would say, like, the weakest spells on this list, probably Bestow Curse, Mislead. I mean, when those are your weakest spells, you have some choice picks here. The Dungeon Dudes chose some amazing spells, and I'm giving this list 10 out of 10. Eldritch Blast alone sells it, but then Polymorph and Dominate Person and Invisibility, some of my top tier picks for their level of play. And yes, the Paladin is a half caster, so these come on a little later in the game. You get Polymorph at 13th level instead of 7th. I don't care. It's great. 10 out of 10. One of the best spell lists I've ever seen. Then you get your Channel Divinity, and you are granted 2 different uses for it. Either the Curse of Hexes or the Curse of Torment. When you grant a creature the Curse of Hexes, you use your Channel Divinity and designate a creature. That creature then has disadvantage on attacks, ability checks, and saving throws for a specific ability score. So this is very similar to the spell Hex, where you curse an ability score, but the spell Hex takes concentration and only affects ability checks. So athletics checks, or investigation, or perception, or whatever. This does ability checks and saving throws and attacks. So if you see a creature that's attacking with their intelligence because they're a spellcaster, or their wisdom or their charisma, or you know that they're attacking with a great sword, so you curse their strength, or with a ranged weapon, so you curse their dex, it gives them disadvantage on their attack rolls now. This lasts for 1 minute, or until the creature succeeds on a charisma save to resist it. On the flip side, the Curse of Torment, much simpler. You curse a creature and they start taking damage. Every turn, they take damage equal to your paladin level and can shake it off with a wisdom save. So yeah, you get the choice. Either a bit of damage, which will scale relatively nicely as you level up, or disadvantage on a crap ton of stuff. And you just throw this out. And there is no save on the initial curse. It just works. And then they have to succeed on a save to get rid of it. It's strong even for the turn that you use it, even if the creature has legendary resistance and auto saves their first attempt to get rid of the curse, it's still going to work for a turn. This is a great channel divinity, and they come back on short rests. So I say 10 out of 10 for these curses. They are very, very well designed. I personally would take Curse of Hexes. I think it's better, but there's definitely time when passive damage is just going to be really powerful. Alright, next level 7. Paladins usually get an aura at this level, which enhances their aura of protection or whatever. In this case, it's the Bewitching aura. This power states that when a creature attacks you within 10 feet, because the aura is a 10-foot aura, you can force that creature to make a charisma saving throw. You use your reaction to do this. If they fail it, you can then redirect that attack or spell or whatever they did to you to another creature that's also within 10 feet of you. So effectively, you can, instead of getting hit, you can make enemies hit themselves. The good news is that there's no limit to how often you can do this because it's an aura. It just works all the time. The bad news is it does take your reaction, so it's once per round you can do this, and they get a save to resist it. It's a great effect, but it's not guaranteed to work. It probably will work, especially if you're pumping your charisma to do this, which honestly, with that spell list, why wouldn't you? This is on the arguments of should this paladin be strength-based or charisma-based. It's almost definitely charisma-based. They are a caster paladin. I mean, they have Eldritch Blast, so whatever. All in all, I say Bewitching Aura 9 out of 10. Still great, not, perfect. I suppose, though, if it automatically worked, you could just redirect attacks every turn with your reaction and there was no save, it would be too strong, so I get it. Next, level 15, Reversal of Fortune. And this one is very simple. When a creature hits you with a critical hit, so you're hit by a creature that has multi-attack, they pull off a crit against you. Ouch. Your next attack against that creature automatically crits. That's nice. That's really nice. That's the kind of feature that feels incredibly thematic. It's like, ow, they hit me really, really hard. I'm going to make them pay. That feels like a Vengeance Paladin thing, but it's not. And it still only happens when a creature crits you. So if you aren't getting hit by critical hits very often, this feature is not going to come up often, but I guarantee you that when it does, critting is amazing for paladins because they can just dump their smite into it and then double the damage. I say this is a 9 out of 10 feature. When it happens, it's going to feel absolute god tier strong. It's just not going to happen that often. And it also precludes you from wearing adamantine armor, because you can't be crit in that. Any other effect that nullifies crits actually gets weaker on this paladin. But still, it's still worth a 9 out of 10. It's still good. The final feature that you get at level 20, most paladins get some sort of super form. They activate it as an action or a bonus action, and for the next minute or hour or whatever, they get advantage on a bunch of stuff, resistance to damage, yada yada. But this paladin, that doesn't happen. There is no super form. It's just a simple addition to their feature, to their channel divinity. It's called Death Hex, and it states that a creature cursed by your channel divinity has vulnerability to all damage. So let's think about that for a second. Vulnerability is powerful. It doesn't matter what level you're at. It doubles the effectiveness of damage. It nullifies resistance to damage because if you have it and then double it, you're back to where you were. But what's interesting here is that these curses, if you remember, only go away if you save. They always still work when you use them. What this means is that if you are fighting the big bad evil guy, you're level 20, you're going to be fighting powerful creatures. They take their turn. They've had their turn. You then use your Death Hex on Channel Divinity and you hit them with the curse, especially if you go right after them. That curse then is there until it's their turn and they can make a saving throw to resist it. Even with their legendary resistance, they'll have to use the legendary resistance to get rid of it. This means that everyone who goes after you and then before the enemy doubles their damage. This isn't just for you. This is a party feature. And you get multiple Channel Divinities per short rest at this point in the game. So, yeah, you can hand out vulnerability basically on a stick, and they're gonna get rid of it. Like, there's no way they're not gonna clear that hex, that curse, as soon as possible, but I don't think it matters that much. Everyone's just going to lay down their high damage spells on that target and obliterate them. At level 20, this is going to be a difference maker, which is something we want to see in our paladins. Now, I'm still not giving this like the highest 10 out of 10. I'm giving it 9 out of 10, but it's still very strong. The reason I'm not giving it 10 out of 10 is because it would be nice if like they got vulnerability and they couldn't get rid of the hex, like the curse, it lasted the whole minute, like they couldn't resist it. As it stands, they can still get rid of it. So this feature is, I'm not going to say it's wasted, because it isn't wasted. It's incredibly strong, and if the initiative order lines up right, you can get a lot of mileage out of it. But if the initiative order doesn't line up right, then you know, one of your teammates, or you, if you can bonus action attack, might get some good use out of this, and then that creature you've cursed is going to clear that thing as fast as possible. I know if I was the DM, I would save if I knew there was an Oath of Hexes Paladin, I'd be saving a legendary resistance for that purpose. Like, I think I'd rather take a polymorph to the face than risk this. I don't know, man. Like, this is the sort of high-profile power that creatures with legendary resistance are going to get rid of so fast. It's still strong. It's still so powerful. But it's so powerful, it makes your curse Channel Divinity a target for anyone who has legendary resistance. So, 9 out of 10 for Death Hex. 9 out of 10 for the Paladin overall. Oddly enough, their best features are right at the start. Their curses and their spell list. Absolutely top tier. The other 3 features, good. Nothing wrong with them, but not quite as epic. Very, very well-written, well-balanced, strong features that all get 9 out of 10s. So the Oath of Hexes Paladin? Yeah, 9 out of 10. A really, really well-written paladin with a supreme spell list and some great Channel Divinities and some decent scaling as the game goes on. I say, well done, Dungeon Dudes. A very, very well-written paladin, no notes. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. Have a look for the join button down there, as well as a link to Ghostfire Games, where you can get Sebastian Crow's Guide to Drakenheim. It was written by the Dungeon Dudes, and I highly suggest that you check this book out for yourself. Have a good one, my friends.